All right, so launch. Global debug launch configuration should be used as an alternative to launch.json that is shared across workspaces. Okay, so what is this thing, launch? And what's a launch.json? So VS Code can interpret launch configurations from a launch.json file that is inside a .vs code folder in the root of your project. So what does this launch.json file contains? It contains the configuration for your particular project. So you need to tell VS Code if this is a Node project or a C# project, and any other debugging configuration or launching configurations that you want to have here, like the entry point of your app, for example. And you should look. So this is what the launch.json file does for you. So you don't have to, for example, if I don't have this launch.json, if having this launch.json file here allows me to just click this button, and this launch configuration is selected, I just click this button and launch it. Without this file, I would have to manually come to the console and write something like, actually I think we're in the wrong, yeah. I have to go to YouTube. I would have to do something like node, what's the name of the attribute? Inspect, and breakpoint, and then index.js, and this would launch it, right? But I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to do that, all that work. I would rather just come here and click that little button, when I need to launch it, and it's going to do the same thing: inspect, breakpoint, and then it's going to launch that. Now, you should look at this launch setting here as whatever is going to appear as the default launch configuration for all projects. So we have compounds and configurations. So let me show you what this is. So let's take a look at configurations first. So we have, this is just an example. This doesn't work, by the way. So we set up a node configuration for a server that's going to launch the server.js file. And we have another one that's also a node project, and we call it client, and we're launching the client.js file. Now, we might want to launch both, right? In that case, we can create a compound configuration. We call it server client, or client server, or both, or whatever you want to call it, and you reference the configurations here. And this little yellow squiggly line is probably an error. So when you come to the debug tab, you will see whatever you have on your launch.json, but also what you have on your launch setting, right? From the user settings. So you have the server, the client, and both. And you could launch both. So this is what this setting does. Let's go back. I'm going to leave this empty because usually my launch configurations are very different across different projects, so it doesn't really make much sense for me to have a default one. However, if you work on projects that always have the same launch configurations, you could definitely set them up here, and they will be available in all your projects.